That's right. I love that part. I love it.
I'm telling you, it's like making love music.
Right. Gets me fired up every time.
It's a good one.
It's good to be back. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bluegrass Juice.
Yeah, welcome back to you.
I know it. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the Ville.
You just got back from Atlanta.
I did. I had a nice little vacation time with the family. Much needed. But it feels good to be back.
That's good.
It's always good to be on the mic with my boy.
Yeah. But, I mean, you weren't there you were there for vacation, but you were working also while you were there.
Correct. You know, and if you want to call it work, twist my arm, get in the studio and get to record one of my favorite human beings on this planet, a.k.a. my cousin Patrick. He is, he's a brilliant individual. And, yeah, I got a chance to sit down with him and chat with him, so...
Well, I can't wait to listen to this interview because I hear it's about his degree, which is Mechatronics.
That's correct. That is correct.
What the fuck is Mechatronics?
That is the number one question that everyone asks as soon as that degree gets brought up. Mechatronics, and this is the poor man's way to describe it, or my way of describing it. It's but it's accurate. It's
simple man.
Yes, the simple man. It's a combination of mechanical and electrical engineering. So if mechanical engineering and electrical engineering were to fuck raw dog style,
yeah, that's the baby it produces.
It would produce baby Mechatronics.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You say that's the simple way of describing it, but that still means absolutely nothing to me.
Oh, right. I'm just regurgitating what I've heard,
I mean, that sounds more like a definition than an explanation, but...
Well, thank you.
I assume you are going to get to a little bit about what it's about in this interview we got coming up.
We will, and I won't go into too much detail because I'm excited. We'll see what you think.
I was going to say, let's just listen to it.
Let's let it run.
All right. You ready?
All right, today we have a special guest here.
Hello.
This is a unique and kind of fresh little spin of Bluegrass Juice. We are, I am in Atlanta, Georgia right now. But anyways, my boy Herb is not here with me, obviously. He is still up in the Ville. But I am here today with my cousin, Patrick Dodd.
Hello.
He is essentially my brother.
Brothers from another mother.
Absolutely. He's the closest thing I've ever had to a brother, and quite frankly, that's...
And vice versa.
Hey, we both grew up with sisters, so he is a brother. So Patrick, what's going on, man?
Not a lot. Do you have, like, a topic we want to talk about, or we just...
Yeah, I was just going to kind of shoot the breeze with you, but, so you recently graduated from Georgia Tech... No, sorry. Southern Polytech.
Yeah.
Correct. With a mechatronics degree. So for most of you, if you were like me, I didn't initially know what mechatronics is. I know the broad term is it basically... form of mechanical and electrical engineering combined, or is that?
That's a pretty good, I guess, short summary.
Okay, that seems broad.
The professor I had that is now the chair of the program said the best way he sums it up is mechatronics is think, measure, act, or something like that.
Okay.
Or measure, think, act. Because a true mechatronic system will have basically sensors, a robot part, and then software running all of it.
Okay. So, but virtually, I mean, with the mechatronics degree, can't you build a robot to produce or to do some function or task from the ground up?
If you give me materials, sure.
Right.
A lot of it was focused on like the math of robotic arms.
Okay. That includes the movement and just function.
Which it gets really complicated. Most modern robotic arms,
I bet. I mean,
they do this thing called independent joint control, where basically they just have each joint in the robot set up like a normal electric motor, and then they have the computer program be like, okay, move joint 1 like this,
right?
Then move joint 2 like this, and that's what creates the like classic slow, kind of jerky robot movement that you would think of as a robot.
So when I'm at like a party or something and I have a few too many
you start
beers, I start doing a robot.
But you know how that like classic really slow jerky kind of movement?
Right.
That's
And
because
drop it and let the...
it's independent joint control.
Okay.
They're just now starting to get robots with what they call force feedback joint control. It lets you do some crazy stuff. Like you can put the robot arm into learning mode, and you can grab the end of the arm and just move it where you need it to go during that motion, and then hit play, and it'll start doing the movement that you just moved.
Really?
Yeah, so you can have like...
That's dope.
They've started moving towards what are called cobots.
Okay.
Which... I don't know if you've ever seen the inside of any kind of industrial robot place.
Can't say that I have, unfortunately.
They have these things called safety cells, which is basically there's a big fenced-off area around the robot. And when it's running, if you cross into that area, you either have to like open a gate or step on a floor pad, or you cross like a laser line. It'll kill the robot.
Really?
Because you can't have a person in there while it's running, because if it fucks up, it can just like punch you harder than a car crash.
Right. It could maybe punch a hole in your chest, or right? Or,
it could just bam, the top half of you's on the other side of the room.
Or smash your head, or I mean...
Yeah, it could kill you really fast. But the cobots, because they know how hard each joint is, like, as soon as it hits anything, it knows it's touching something, and it can just freeze.
Really? Like, how good, though? Like,
it's getting better, but it's not perfect yet. So most of the cobots are kind of cheap plastic stuff, so that it really couldn't hurt you.
Right.
They're not strong enough yet.
Right.
But it's heading in the direction of you're going to have these immensely powerful robots that can be delicate with you.
I was listening to a podcast a while back. I believe it was one of Rogan's, and I think it was Whitney Cummings that was on there, and she's a stand-up comedian. I think she's brilliant. But she has I think it was initially designed as a sex robot, but it looks just like her. But she was talking about how they were running tests on this robot, and they wanted the robot to jump from the floor on top of the table. So the robot was supposed to get on top of the table, and instead of the robot jumping up, the robot just put one of its, I guess, legs or limbs or whatever, and then just smashed the table, like this very sturdy table, just straight to the ground, and then stepped on top of the table. Like, and she was just like, holy shit. That was easier for it to do. Like, it took less effort, I guess, for the robot.
So this was a sex robot?
This specific one, no. But
okay.
Oh, dude, sex robots are like the thing. You can pick like any celebrity mouth you want, celebrity butt. I mean,
I wouldn't really call that a sex robot as much as like a blowjob machine,
right?
Because it's, I guess you could call it robotics, but that's closer to
they talk.
Yeah, but so does like your wind-up Woody doll or whatever.
True.
Hold a string and it talks.
But you could set it to like jealous mode or like different. Yeah. Oh yeah. Which apparently that's very common, guys.
And I thought this was supposed to be like a For Everyone podcast. And here we are talking about blowjob robots.
Hey, I mean, this is Bluegrass shoot, so anything goes. I can't really control, or at least haven't learned that well to control the thoughts that pop into my head.
So we're doing it all stream of consciousness.
Essentially, yes. So I got a video, but it was poor video quality of like your senior project. It was basically like the final big shebang.
The Perplexus.
Yes. It was like, that's like a pass-fail thing. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like if you fuck that up...
If you don't have a working project on project day, it's like 80% of your grade.
Right. So if it does,
you can literally get a 0 on the final paper and still pass the course if you
with an 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess theoretically, if you got 100% on that project, which that seems almost impossible. So you were a group of, was it 3 of you? 4. 3.
It was let's see, me and 3 other guys.
Okay. The video I saw
there was only you and 2 others?
Well, I think one dude was shooting the video.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
But we had one guy who really didn't do a lot of robotics, and like, starting with that, you're like, oh, so this guy was freeloading. But the truth is, from like day one, this guy did all the paperwork. We just didn't even have to think about it. We could focus on the robot.
That's big.
That was big.
Right. I could see that at first you being like, what do you mean you're not going to deal with any of the robotics? We're building a robot.
Yeah, but then he was like, all this paperwork, don't even think about it.
Right. Because didn't there had to be a paper to go with it, right?
Well, there was like a weekly report every week. There was...
is there a word limit?
The preliminary design report... No, let's see. We had to like propose the concept, then write a paper expanding on that, and then we had to write a paper expanding on that actually had like designs of the robot, how the mechanisms worked.
Oh, jeez.
And then a paper expanding on that, which is like, this is our final, this is the project, here's how it works, here's why it works.
And this is...
here's what we did to get here.
Right. Because ultimately the goal is to make something better or easier, right? I mean...
Well, for that particular project, it's to prove that you understand...
Right.
Mechatronics to the point that you could go out and actually do an engineering project for a team at a place.
Right. How much did that equipment... Because I know the school obviously had to pay for that, which means they get to keep all of those projects.
Well, we actually had a, let's see, like $250 budget.
That's it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That includes, like, the robotic equipment?
This is for the Perplexus. It's depending on which professor is funding it. Everybody in the class got, like, a $250 from the school.
Okay. Now...
But if you had... some people had industry sponsors. Or, like, some company was like, we will pay for all of your project, but you have to do our project.
Right. So, my question is, say, like, you or... well, first off... And this may kind of be silly, but explain what the Perplexus is versus...
Okay, so the Perplexus itself is this... if you've ever seen, like, one of those wooden mazes that you roll a marble around in...
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that.
The other day, yeah.
Sit in your lap, or...
It's that inside of a sphere. So it's this crazy 3D maze inside the sphere. And we had this mounted in a gimbal.
Okay.
So that we could spin it however we wanted.
Okay.
And we were spinning through a solve of this puzzle.
Wow, okay.
And the idea was...
Is there a ball bearing in the middle? Or?
Yeah, there's like I think it's ball bearing, big metal marble.
Yeah, whatever.
But we had it set up so that it was designed to take the motion from another one that had a tracker glued onto it.
Oh.
So that as you solved one, the robot would solve the other, and then you could play back the solve.
Oh, that's cool. So it was using that technology you were telling me about. Basically, like how you could put it almost in like on record mode. And that
was the idea, yeah.
That's wicked. See, I had no idea that even existed. My thing, I thought it would be like, if I'm trying to control a robot, maybe I have like some advanced joysticks.
They do have those for a lot of robots.
Right. But I could see where that might be tough. Especially
you have to learn every robot.
Yeah. And I don't have much,
some of them,
if any, experience with that.
Especially the one they had in the lab at school. The joystick on it was so frustrating because it had like...
Was it sensitive?
It had like 4 buttons on the thing. And then the joystick. But it had like 21 modes.
What?
And so you had to look at the combination of the 4 lights at the top and be like, wait, we're in mode this means it's gonna do that when you push this button. And
that's, yeah, I would get very frustrated with that, dude. I got frustrated learning how to fly my drone.
It very much is one of those things where some engineer was like, this controller has to do all of this.
Yeah,
I don't care how you put it on there.
Okay,
just make it cheap.
Right. And is that considered like a universal type thing?
No, that is only for that robotic arm. You would have to learn a whole new joystick scheme if you had a different brand.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that, I know it sounds crazy, like, and I'm not trying to toot your own horn or anything, but any of my friends that know me well, they hear me brag about you all the time because I always say Patrick, my cousin, is the smartest human being I know.
Well,
and
I appreciate that.
I know, and I know that may frustrate you because you know a lot of, and I've met some of your friends that I think are brilliant and they're cool as shit, and I love picking their brains. But it's just the way your brain works is so much different than mine. So it's fascinating to me. It's like, fuck, like, man, like all those details and just if I have a question about anything.
Yeah, but if you ask me a sports question right now, I have like a 1 in a million chance of knowing what you're talking about, unless it's something that we've gone over already. And
right.
Like I know about 10-cent beer night.
10-cent beer night, dude. How did I not hear about that?
Because it was in the 70s. I bet there's some people listening that have not heard of it yet. Look that up.
I'd say I would like to. That's a good segment. And a 10-cent beer night. Was it 1974?
I think it was.
Yeah, early to mid 70s. So it's a Major League Baseball game. It is the Texas Rangers versus the Cleveland Indians, and this game is at Cleveland. And at the time, apparently, Cleveland, the city, was, for lack of better words, kind of a shithole.
It was literally, the water was literally on fire. There was so much garbage in the river that literally the water was on fire.
Yes. Factories were shutting down. People were losing their jobs.
It was not good.
The unemployment rate was skyrocketing. So, and apparently back then, Cleveland and Texas had a pretty fierce rivalry that I did not know
There had
about.
been some kind of event earlier in the season. I don't remember the specifics.
With baseball, it usually goes with one team might be blowing out another team, and that team that's losing a lot, the pitcher throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball at some dude's head.
Beanball.
Yeah, oof. And good luck trying to dodge that. So anyways.
It's like getting punched at a distance.
Oh, dude. I mean, I don't know who they is, but the infamous they says the hardest thing in professional sports is to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So anyways, back to 10-cent beer night. Yeah, Cleveland decided that they were going to sell a beer for all night long, each 10 cents. And the only limit was each individual purchase, you could only get 6 beers at once. So you're
not 6 beers total, mind you.
Exactly.
At once, at a time, when you're at the counter.
So you're waiting in line, you get up there, you order 6 beers, you pay the man, or actually it was younger, like 18 and 19-year-old, very attractive women wearing some shorter tops, just showing off a bit. But these people would get 6 beers.
Yeah, because, the whole thing was a publicity stunt to get people there. Because who's going to say no to a 10-cent beer?
I won't.
Right?
They were averaging 5,000.
Yeah, they were averaging 5,000
attendance.
viewers. And then on 10-cent beer night, they had 25,000 people there and 50 security guards.
Yes. And even if you're not great at math, you can realize that ratio is not great. Especially when that amount of alcohol is introduced. So yeah, people were going up and getting 6 beers.
They had a streaker every inning of the game.
Yeah. Bases were getting stolen.
Yeah, they never recovered some of the bases ever.
Oh man, we talked about that. About
somebody somewhere has the home plate from 10-cent beer night.
Or dude, I've got the second base mounted in my basement bar in my man cave of 10-cent beer night.
Yeah, that would be a conversation starter right there.
Oh gosh, absolutely.
Just don't invite any police over.
Yeah, no kidding. So the game apparently starts getting out of control. Fans are chucking full beers out on the field. Fireworks.
It was 1974, so it was kind of expected that people were just setting off their own firecrackers and stuff.
Oh yeah, people are throwing M80s out on the field. Fireworks are landing in the Rangers' dugout.
At one point, they had the bright idea to tell everyone to not throw things into the field.
Right. Good luck telling a man or woman.
25,000 people who are pissed drunk, and you say, please don't throw things.
I know
what are you going to do? They started just chucking.
If I'm 14 beers in and someone tells me not to do something, I don't care if I probably didn't even think of doing that. But now I'm probably going to do it because I'm a jackass sometimes. I mean, especially when, little
copious amounts of alcohol.
Oh, absolutely. We've all had our nights. Oh, maybe not, but The thing that blew my mind.
The whole game concluded with the entire audience storming the field to attack one of the teams, and the other team rushed to their defense. So it ended up being the players versus the audience in just an all-out brawl with bats. With
people were like punching, hitting, gouging. There was still streakers during this chaos. Fully grown naked men and women running about. It got so bad with the streakers that the security guards, the poor individuals, the 50 of them, gave up trying to even catch the streakers. Did they finish the game?
No, it totally dissolved after the brawl.
Okay. But it went surprisingly late, I thought.
It made it like 8 or 9 innings.
I was going to say, I think it might have went into 9 innings.
But it did not finish.
Yeah. I think eventually what happened, the players were just kind of like, no thank you, I don't want to die tonight. And they
were literally like fighting for their lives to get off the field.
Right. Because there's thousands of hammered drunk fans
coming to get you.
Yeah. So 10-cent beer night. How legendary is that? That's when it reminded me of the Malice in the Palace in 2004 with the Detroit Pistons. How I showed you where like some of those players started fighting each other, and then fan threw something and hit. I forget if it was Rasheed Wallace or maybe Ben Wallace.
Whoever the guy that got.
Oh, it was Ron Artest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron Artest ends up like running up in the stands and like
attacking that guy because he chucked a drink at him.
Right. I mean, I can't say that I'm that surprised. I mean, Ron Artest is now very interesting, by the way. His name is now Meta World Peace.
It's a weird name.
It's very strange, but I love it because like whenever he's playing, the announcers refer to him as Meta World Peace because he legally changed his name. So yeah, that's just some insanity. Let's see. So yeah, you gave us a little bit about the Mechatronics side of things, which I still think is very, very fascinating. What if you could pick one dream job? I mean, I'm talking like the full, like that's it. That's what I would love to do and get paid, and that be it.
I mean, if I could just get paid to do whatever I want, that'd be pretty cool, but I know that's...
that might be a little... we're talking legal, actual jobs.
I've thought about being an integrator, which is basically the people who go and set up assembly lines for companies.
Okay.
Because they have trouble keeping people in those jobs because you have to travel a lot. Because it's not like they're going to keep setting up facilities in the same spot. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can only build so many manufacturing facilities in the same county before you're out of room.
Right. And I mean, when they're giant factories, there's typically not like dozens and dozens of them.
Like packed right next to each other.
Right.
There are in some like industrial parks, but...
Right. Still though.
A lot of them are like a big warehouse in the middle of Nowheresville, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Or like a petroleum facility somewhere in North Dakota or something.
Right. And that's like the job, and they've got thousands and thousands of employees.
Yeah, there's nothing else out there.
So virtually, the future, what you could or would like to be doing, you would put like my dad out of a job.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully I would get your dad a job working on the robots.
Right.
Because you're still going to need somebody to go in there who isn't an engineer, who just, hey, we need a new whatever on Unit 3.
Right.
Go slap it on there.
Right. Because he does, like, so my dad works at the truck plant, the Ford truck plant in Louisville, Kentucky, and he has worked there, I believe, coming up on 26 years. So he's going to put in his full 30 years so he can retire, get the full pension, bada bing, bada boom.
If you drive a F-250 or larger, there's like a 1 in 5 chance that he bolted your transmission together.
Yes, that is an absolute fact. His name's Robert, and he famously says, "You know what Ford stands for, don't you?" I'm like, 5-year-old Dom. Oh, what's that, Dad? Stands for fuck over Robert Daly. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Dad. But even though he complains about his job, he sticks it out, and he's going to retire from there with a lot of consequences, though, as far as overuse injuries, whatever.
Yeah.
But you think that's obviously the future, though? I mean, it makes sense.
What's coming faster than that is automated management software. There's a job you can get that it's kind of a scary job. The idea is you would go in and work at a computer like a normal job, but everything you do on the computer is recorded by this special software.
Ooh.
And so
I don't like that.
It learns how you code and then can make code like you code.
Really?
Because you're basically making programs out of these predefined blocks
for
specific tasks. And while you're doing this, you're training the computer program to make the same kind of programs from the same basic blocks.
Really?
Yeah. So, if you get this job, at some point, you are guaranteed to be fired because the computer will be able to do it now.
Just as well as you, and
at least close enough.
Right. And
for pennies on the dollar.
Right. And way quicker.
Yeah.
Jeez. My question is, so why wouldn't, if there exists, why wouldn't, the top tier best coder in the world just do this once, and then couldn't that computer just replicate that same...
Because the amount of time it would take to train the software with just one guy is going to take too long.
I see.
You need to feed thousands of iterations into the thing, but once you've trained it, it works.
Right. So is that even possible, though? So once it's trained, can it then...
You give it the same kind of problem you were giving the coders, and it spits out the answer.
But can that computer transfer its training knowledge to another computer without the human training?
Once you have it working, it's working software.
It's set.
Yeah, you could copy-paste it and just distribute copies of this software to whoever.
Wow. Okay. So how...
But it'll just be trained for whatever the problem set you trained it for is.
Right.
They don't have a generalized artificial intelligence that can handle any problem. There'll still be tools for a specific problem, but you can make the scope of the problem a lot more general.
Okay.
So it's instead of a scripting program that can only do this one thing, it can handle a whole range of questions, but it's still just a scripting tool.
Right.
Ultimately.
Right. So it's much more broad, but then I guess
they're doing exactly that, not just with software, but with managers. So every week when the manager makes the timesheet or whatever, it's recording that.
Right.
And then measuring how effective the employees were that week.
Right.
So that eventually, instead of having a manager at a restaurant or whatever, you'd walk in and you would clock in and the computer would be like, "Welcome to work. Here are your duties for today."
That freaks me out. Why does that freak me out? I mean...
Right? It feels... Because that's really where the job loss is going to happen first. Because all these sort of trained people who can do stuff like be a good manager are going to be too expensive.
Right, and virtually useless.
Yeah, because your management software will do it better.
It's a one-time investment, and then that's it. Wow, okay. So, I mean, obviously it's going to get rid of a lot of jobs, but it's also
they'll pay really good for those jobs because no one wants to make their own position obsolete.
Right. But it's much more specialized field. I'm never going to become a coder.
Why not?
I don't really have the interest.
Oh shit, I'm getting a phone call. Hold on.
Yep. We can, let me just go over some things here. Hopefully we're sounding good here. My boy Patch is taking a call. Yeah, so we are thinking about getting dinner with my cousin Kelly tonight.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
And I want to see her new place and meet her cats. One of her cats' name is Chicken Nugget, and the other one is John.
All right, see you then.
And I believe they have a third one as well.
Yes, they just recently got a third one named Alexa or something. Alexis.
Alexis.
No, it's just Lexus.
Just Lexus.
Yeah, but she also goes by Officer May Arnold.
Oh, that's bizarre, but
Yeah.
I like it. So what was she saying? What time are we wanting to head over there?
7:45. So if we leave around 6:50,
Oh, wow. Okay.
we got a minute.
Yeah, we got a little bit.
We'll need to cut that out.
Yeah, we can.
People
yeah.
don't need to.
I was just rambling, just nonsense, so we'll definitely cut that out. I do want to go back to my mother's crib and put on nicer clothes before I head out. Just some, actual khaki shorts or something, just so I don't look like an absolute scrub.
You don't have to. I'm probably gonna be wearing this.
I know, but you know how I am. So, what were we talking about? You were explaining? Oh, about how the future and how like managers and stuff are going to be losing their jobs because of these computers. Fear, or just a fear in general about AI, artificial intelligence. I'd say you're more excited about it.
Well, there's a lot of benefits to it. Because, ultimately, isn't that what we want? To not have to deal with the shit that we have to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, if, people like their stuff, because if it makes your life easier, to be able to just, sit in your house, and if you have any question that pops in your head, you say, Alexa, what is, the exact measurement, or how many tablespoons of salt do I need to put in this, whatever, and it just, spits out information. That's pretty damn cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, all computers are really carefully organized sand.
How?
That's what it's made out of. The chip inside there is very, very carefully organized silicon.
And sand is just glass, though, right?
Glass is silicon dioxide and some other stuff, for the most part.
Okay.
But they purified out of sand, yeah.
Okay. So sand is the
It's
bee's
the most consumed resource on Earth after water.
Wow. How did I not know that?
Because it goes into everything, and you just never even notice.
Right. Would there ever be, could we ever run out of sand?
We could, yeah.
Oh, really?
It's probably not going to happen, but the issue is that not all sand is created equal. And so at some point we'll run out of the easy-to-use sand. But that might take a while.
Okay. So, are they literally, are there, giant trucks that, go to beaches? And
Sorta. They have, sand quarries.
Wow. Huh. So they're probably, kind of digging to China, though.
You can't dig to China.
Right,
the deepest hole humans have ever dug was the Kola borehole. It was 5.5 miles deep.
Wow.
The Russians were trying to drill to the center of the Earth.
But see, if you dig a hole, eventually gets to a point where the weight above the hole is too heavy and it will collapse in.
Sort of. It's more like as you get deeper and the rocks get hotter, they stop acting like a solid completely.
Ooh, is it like a lava, like a molten type lava?
I've always heard it described as hard candy, but I don't really know what that means.
Huh.
So,
maybe like a caramel chew.
Maybe, but it's
Bunch
not.
of old ladies keep.
It's softer than a surface rock that's cool, but it's not really a liquid yet. And so at about 5 miles down, when they would pull the drill head out to swap the drilling bit, because they would be wearing it down to nothing, the section they just drilled would just shut before they could get the drill head back down to it. And so they were just drilling the same section at about 5.5 miles down. And then they were like, this is worthless.
Right. You can make no progress.
There are some designs that scientists have come up with for some kind of laser drill that you would never have to change the drill bit. So you wouldn't have that problem, but the cost of actually building the device would be unreasonable. It would be so expensive to build this thing, and you wouldn't actually get anything out of it.
Right, I mean...
You can drill an extra mile, maybe?
Right.
It's going to get too hot and too...
I mean, you'd get some information. Maybe.
We wouldn't learn much.
Right.
We have a pretty good understanding of what's down there.
Right. So I had a wicked dream a couple weeks ago, and I think it was probably some nonsense I was watching on Netflix, but it was kind of about, like, climate change, and for some reason, like, the Earth got just uninhabitable, so humans started we started digging underground, and we were living underground.
I mean,
we built basements, obviously, all the time.
we build huge mines. You've been to Kentucky Mega Caverns with me.
Oh, yeah.
Which, we are not sponsored by Kentucky Mega Caverns, but that was pretty fun.
Oh, yeah, we went zip lining in a giant cave.
Yeah.
I mean,
honestly, one of the things that really struck me about that is, at one point, before we rode the zip line, the tour guide is like, the length of this tunnel on the zip line is... Or it was a bridge or something?
Yeah, what are they? The drawbridge?
Right after the drawbridge, there was a zip line, and he said this zip line is the length of the International Space Station.
Oh, that's right.
And that gave me just like a visual. I could see the space station in that space, and I was like, "Wow, those guys do not have a lot of room."
No. See, I thought the International Space Station would be like ungodly huge.
It is pretty big, but like. It's basically 2 circular hallways that are connected.
Wow. Yeah, that was wicked cool. I almost forgot that we did that. But anyways, yeah, back to my dream. So eventually, like humans, we're digging underground and living underground, but the cost of ventilation and sewage was just ridiculous. And eventually...
It'd basically have to be a self-contained system, like one of those biospheres. And to date, none of those have worked.
Really?
Yeah, like, they have had a bunch of tries where people have tried to build, like, a totally sealed, self-sustained building.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big failures they had was, they were trying to grow trees in one of these things.
Okay.
And it turns out that wind is absolutely essential for the growth of trees. Because if the wind isn't pushing the trees around, they don't develop their root system right. And so once the trees hit a certain age in this biosphere, they all just fell over and died.
Right, because they
weren't strong enough to stand up under their own weight because they'd never trained against the wind and built up stronger roots. And so they were in this biosphere, and then all their trees died, and they're like, well.
And what does the wind like help like spread any types of like pollen?
Tons.
Yeah, I figured.
There are a bunch of wind distributed plants.
I figured as much. But that seems to me like that could be...
But it's just another little thing that you'd have to account for. So you got to have artificial wind. You got to have... So that requires extra fans to power that. Extra power to power the fans.
Mo money, mo problems.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they say.
But it would basically have to be like a government scale operation to really have enough money. But if the planet was screwed, someone would try.
Well, I mean, what else would you do?
Go to space.
Yeah. Do you think that's really like, are people going to be living on Mars?
Yes, but I don't have an accurate depiction of the time scale. Mm-hmm. If Elon Musk is to be believed, and so far he has been to be believed, like
I don't doubt that human being, or if he is a human being.
I mean, just look at Tesla and SpaceX. It's even if that company is like eating itself up on the inside, we've already advanced space travel so much with a reusable rocket. And I don't mean reusable like the space shuttle, because did you know that had something like 125 million moving parts?
Oh, I didn't, but I believe it. I mean,
they basically had to take the whole engine apart and rebuild it in between every flight.
Jeez.
Yeah, it costs too much to do that.
I was gonna say, I don't even see how that's even, like, feasible.
It wasn't really. It was kept afloat by the taxpayers until they were like, this is getting too dangerous. We're killing astronauts.
Right. I think it's pretty cool that Elon one of his biggest pet peeves is traffic. So he is currently designing tunnels.
Yeah, he
underground. They've
talked
already
about this
started
on
digging.
Rogan.
He did, yeah.
He said he plans to dig them like 10 miles deep or something, hundreds of miles of tunnel.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I don't know exactly.
Or
if
not
it's-
10 miles deep, but
Yeah, I mean,
hundreds of feet.
yeah. Pretty deep, but.
Because the Kola borehole is only 5.5.
Right.
But he said that there's more space under Los Angeles than there is above it. Because you can build in all 3 dimensions.
So, like, there's no skyscrapers getting in the way, right?
Yeah.
that-
But also, there's a bunch of people who are still working on flying cars, but I'm pretty sure Elon Musk said this himself. It's an issue of mass flow. To fly, you have to be pushing down hard enough to stay in the air. And
Yeah.
we already have helicopters, and there's a reason they're not all over every city.
Right. Well,
They
think
all-
if your neighbor had a flying car, and every time they got home, your house started shaking, and it sounded
and
like
everybody on the street is doing that. It would be loud all the time. It
Yeah.
would sound like an airport everywhere.
right. I mean, that's just that's not realistic,
Until we get something new.
right? So yeah, I'm pretty intrigued and actually excited about the underground travel. I mean, obviously we have subways, and I mean those seem pretty efficient.
Yeah, and the Hyperloop thing seems to have solved a lot of the problems of, like, high-speed sealed tubes.
Oh, okay. So is it going to be almost like a vacuum type thing?
Well, one of the biggest issues they've had in the past is if you shoot a bullet train down a tube, it builds up like a shockwave of air in front of it, even if there's not a lot of gas in the tunnel.
Okay.
The Hyperloop has this, like, big turbine down the middle that will pull that wave of compressed air from in front of it and blow it out the back. So that it can go faster than this, like, resistive plug of air that it would be generating.
Right. It has to get rid of it, obviously.
So
Yeah.
it...
Right. Okay. And I guess, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be instantaneous, but you could probably travel, 100, 200 miles in, like,
If you're
just
going...
a few minutes, right?
I mean, maybe, like... One of the estimates for a subsea, like, hypersonic monorail was, like... maglev monorail. They were predicting it would take 2 hours to get from New York to Paris.
What?
Yeah. You could eat breakfast in New York and get to Paris for lunch.
Dope.
But it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to be a while before they build that.
Right. But also, wouldn't this would help with the whole pollution thing, too, though? Because don't planes, like...
Not really.
I thought planes kind of fucked.
Most planes are not that bad.
Really?
The main thing from planes is the jet contrails increase cloud nucleation. And more importantly, they're putting all this, like, fine carbon up too high. But there is no such thing as an electric jet engine. There's something called, like, an arc jet. But it's not really the same thing.
Right.
There's no way to...
Is it more like a hybrid?
An arc jet uses an arc of electricity to expand gas, but it's typically used in, like, really, really tiny spaceship thrusters because it's not a very powerful effect.
Right.
So there's no way you could replace an airline engine with one of those.
Yeah, no way.
The only solution on that front is hydrogen fuel,
Okay.
because most of the existing jet engines could be adapted or modified.
Okay.
A jet engine will run on anything that burns if you can feed it in fast enough. Like, you could run a jet engine on coal dust if you had to.
Really?
You'd have to build a special auger or something to feed the coal dust in, but
Right. That seems almost like...
anything that you can burn that you can inject into the chamber.
But I feel like the weight of all of that coal or coal dust would just...
You wouldn't want to use coal dust. It would be a bad idea. It's just a...
Right, it's just possible. Just
Yeah.
the fact that you could. That's wicked, man.
They, I think it was GM had a turbine car that they They ran it on brandy because some
Nice.
people like made a bet with them that it wouldn't run, and so they filled it up with brandy and ran it around. And then the engineers were all pissed. They were like, "You just wasted all that brandy."
No kidding. I mean, I'm not a big tequila fan. I would have used tequila.
Well, the people who were using the alcohol thought it wasn't going to work, and they were going to get their alcohol back.
right.
So then the car ran, and they're like, "Our alcohol! No!"
Right. Where's our brandy? Yeah.
Well, you gave it to us to put in this car, and we drove it.
Well, it's just like 10-cent beer night. They end up running out of beer. And that, I think, is initially what set off a lot of the riots. Because when you're
They
offering...
had people like running away with kegs at one point.
Yeah, and people just like putting the beer hose just straight up to their mouth and just guzzling. Just beers after beers, ounces and ounces. Like, I mean, for a little guy, I could put down some beer, but
They had people getting in line, ordering 6 beers, walking to the back of the line with their 6 beers and finishing them before they got to the front of the line, and then spending another 60 cents.
that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Wonder what kind of beers it was.
Probably
Budweiser.
almost certainly Budweiser, because like what other beers are there in
Right.
like, maybe Coors, but I don't think they were that close to Colorado.
No, they were in Cleveland. Yeah. Speaking of Coors, I'm a Coors Banquet man, but it's got to be in the brown stubby bottles, not Coors Light. Coors Banquet with the brown stubby bottles and the red caps that all have some little saying on each cap that makes you go, huh.
If we're talking about things under beer caps, I ran into a dude who collected the PBR glass bottle caps.
Yeah.
Because if you get PBR in a glass bottle, the underside of the lid has a playing card on it.
No.
Yeah.
So he wanted the full deck.
Yeah, but I think you have to drink something like 7,000 beers to even have a chance of getting a complete deck, because they allow duplicates.
Well, of course.
So it's like opening a pack of trading cards
Yeah.
for...
Oh, I remember those days. I was huge into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and I would go and get those at Toys R Us.
And I'm willing to believe that some playing cards are more rare than others.
Definitely.
Like, it's definitely not a equal distribution.
Well, no, I mean,
It's
the holographic Charizard.
It's totally a gimmick to get people to buy the PBR so that they get the whole deck.
How come I've never seen a PBR in a glass bottle?
I don't know.
Have you?
Yeah,
I've never seen one in person.
I've had one. That's
Wow.
how I found out about the whole...
Makes
He gave me
sense.
one, and then he was like, "Oh, but let me get the cap." And I'm like, "What?"
What? Right. And be careful opening it.
Yeah, don't break that. I
Wow.
was like, "What?"
My respect for PBR just went up.
I think I might have one somewhere in this room.
That would be cool.
Yeah, look.
You
8 of
literally have one
spades.
right there. You got the 8 of spades?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. Very cool.
I'm not trying to collect them, though. I'm not trying to drink that much PBR. That's so much beer.
Right? I mean, that's like a lifetime achievement.
If you can call it an achievement.
Technically, anything could be an achievement.
Yeah.
So we are going to pause this bad boy here. I'd say we probably will come back to this.
Yeah, maybe have a second episode on Saturday?
Yeah, the world is our playground, bud. We can do whatever we want. I appreciate you talking with me, Patrick.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I got to kind of pick your brain a little bit, and hopefully you beautiful individuals at home, work, wherever you are, enjoyed our conversation, kind of enjoyed learning a little bit about mechatronics.
Thanks for listening to Bluegrass Juice.
That's right. All right, we'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Wow.
What'd you think?
I mean, that's just, I mean, it blows your mind, really.
Okay, so my main thing was that wasn't even the idea of learning a bunch about mechatronics or, well, I mean, the 10-cent beer night. That's pretty cool. But
That is cool.
I wanted our audience, our listeners, to just get a taste of Patrick's mind, if you will. to kind of know his story a little bit, and he knows everything about everything. So
Yeah.
there's many more interviews, I would hope, in the future to be had. So.
I mean, he is literally one of the most intelligent human beings I've ever met.
Absolutely.
And I mean, even listening to him in this interview, I mean, I'm not saying, trust me, I understand there's probably more intelligent people in the world, and Patrick would tell you that. That being said,
Exactly.
he's still way, like me and you are down here. I know this is a radio show, so y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but we're down here.
Right.
He's up on a whole other level above us.
Entirely new level. And Herbie and I are no idiots. You know,
No.
I mean, I like to think we carry ourselves pretty well, and we're smarter than your average bear.
Yeah.
But Patch, his name I call him Patch. He is on a new level, and you're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
And I mean, if you learn nothing else from this interview, or if you don't care about the Mechatronics, I mean, the 10-cent beer night.
Wasn't that great?
I mean, that is crazy.
How did you not know about that?
I knew absolutely nothing about that.
Right, and you and I mean, I would consider us pretty, knowledgeable.
Yeah, I like to think I'm
sports
pretty.
fans.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty caught up as far as sports history goes, and I knew nothing about that. I knew about Malice in the Palace,
Right, 2000.
but
Yep.
I've never heard of 10-cent beer night. That is something that happens, like, and you just happen to be there.
Legendary.
Oh my God.
Legendary.
Like, you have a story to tell absolutely anybody for the rest of your life. You could be talking to CEOs of major corporations, and you have one hell of a story to tell them about.
Think about if you were one of the fans that took home one of the bases. And you have that in your man cave in the basement.
Yeah, hanging on the wall.
A fridge full of cheap beer, and you got that.
Yeah.
You got second base. If that's not a conversation starter, I don't know what is.
I know. I'll tell you what.
You know what's disappointing? I took a sports history class in college. Mm-hmm. A legitimate class. I mean, this wasn't like a, sit in the back and fall asleep class.
Yeah.
Still had never heard about 10-cent beer night.
I mean, I feel like it's something they probably wish you would just forget. So that's probably why they don't put a whole lot of emphasis on it.
That's a good point.
I'm shocked there's not a 30 for 30 of it, though.
You know what? That's brilliant. I feel like that would be a great 30 for 30. I didn't even think about
I mean,
that.
I feel like they've made 30 for 30s even on, like, horrible circumstances. So,
And they
I mean,
turned out good.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, it's not like it would be uncalled for them to talk about it.
Absolutely. Maybe their only limitation, I guess you would say, is they don't have a ton of footage. Because this is 1974.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So that could be the one drawback there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to let the audience get a taste of Patch. I know he had a good time. It was fun. We got to play around with the mics. And yeah, look forward or expect some more interviews in the future.
And more interviews with just anybody.
Period.
Not just
Thank you.
not
Yeah.
just Pat, but
Exactly.
everybody. I mean, like,
Well, we
it's
have-
great that just our second episode we can get somebody like that to interview already, but
Right.
I mean, that's
It's a good start.
yeah, pretty good.
And the thing is, we already have 2 other interviews already recorded, folks. We just need to do some editing. We have a lot of amazing content coming y'all's way.
Yeah.
And, I'm not bullshitting here. I'm excited. So we'll just let you guys be the judge of that. What do you think about that, Herb?
I agree. Well, I mean, speaking of great content,
Yes.
are you ready for our Urban Dictionary word of the week?
Woohoo! You bet your tits I am.
All right, let's see what Peyton cooked up for us this week.
Lovely
See if we can
Peyton.
figure it out.
Thank you, by the way, Peyton.
She hears that plenty. She would claim that I don't ever say thank you, but I mean, she hears that plenty.
She's got to have something.
Yeah. Well, she has me. I mean, that's like greatest prize of all.
I can't argue that, Herb.
I'm just a gem.
Why do you think I've kept you around for 26 years?
True. I'm struggling to read this. Belfi
Belfi.
or Belfie. I guess Belfie. I think that's Belfie. IE.
Yeah, Belfi. Yeah.
Belfie.
Interesting.
That's our word. Belfie.
So if this is an actual word, which I'm assuming it's not, it's an actual Urban Dictionary word. But
Yes.
if you look in, the Oxford Dictionary most recent, I don't think we'd find this.
No, probably not.
But I like that because this isn't Oxford's segment.
No.
This is Urban Dictionary. This is a tough one. I'll let you start this one.
I don't even really have a good idea of this. I guess the best thing I can think of,
I've got an idea.
like just the word bell, makes me think like it's some sort of like. I mean, I hope this is not it because I don't think it'd be very funny, but like some sort of special like bell, like you know what I'm talking about, like a big like the
Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell or something like that, like some sort of special bell.
Okay.
Is what I'm gonna go with.
Oh, and keep in mind, folks, we want you all thinking of your definition or trying to come up with what you think it is while you're listening at home. So here's my definition. Belfie, I think, selfie. So
That's a good one.
I throw a B in there, throwing maybe a little booty action, that little butt selfie.
Butt selfie.
Maybe.
Maybe.
This might be, you text your chick at 2:30 a.m. and you had one or too many drinks and you're requesting nudes.
Yeah.
And she sends you not the full package, but you get a belfie.
Yeah.
You toss that in a spank bank. I mean, beggars can't be choosers here, folks.
Like now that you said that, like that sounds so good. I'm excited to look this up.
So you agree?
Yeah, I mean that sounds really good.
Or
I didn't think about that.
more so you're hopeful that I'm right.
I am.
Ditto. Let's see what we got.
Oh my god, it is
Are you serious?
a bottom selfie, a photograph self-portrait featuring the buttocks, usually posted by female celebrities on social media networks.
Yes.
So it is a butt selfie.
And I promise you, had I seen that piece of paper before?
No,
You
neither
pulled
of us
that out
had.
of somewhere. I don't even know
Neither
where
of
you
us
got
had.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm 1 for 2
Yeah.
thus far on Bluegrass Juice Urban Dictionary segment of the week.
So 1 for 2. So we're talking about that. What you promised the audience another segment last week
Ooh, you're right. You're
or
right.
last episode.
And I promise I'm going to deliver. So here's my thinking. I want to throw in a different segment. It's going to be a top 5 segment. So each week I'm going to introduce a top 5 of anything. It's my top 5, my personal top 5. And I would like the audience, if they would so choose, to come up with their personal top 5. Comment below. If you disagree with mine, tell me why and why I'm a jackass. Or if you agree, pat me on the back. That'd be great. So I'm going to keep it simple this first week, but still highly debatable. Top 5 greatest movies of all time.
It's a good one. It's a tough one, really.
This took me a long time.
I mean, that's a tough category. Like anytime somebody asks me what my favorite movie is, I have to say what genre.
Exactly.
Because I cannot just narrow down favorite movie.
It's like someone saying, what's your favorite song? What?
Yeah.
It's
You may have to go.
impossible.
You may have to go with this top 5 solo because I don't.
Yeah, that is
I
tough
don't know
on the
that I
spot.
can come up with it on the spot. So
Although-
you've had a little more time to think about it.
Days. My hope is that when I tell you my top 5, you might be like, oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going to jump into it. And this is no particular order for the 5. This isn't a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. It's just, these are my
the
5.
Gotcha.
I'm going to start off with Shawshank Redemption.
Great movie.
Phenomenal movie. It gives me cold chills every time I've watched it. And I've probably seen it 8 to 12 times, if I had to guess, all the way through.
You ever thought about like how manly and everything, and how actually kind of crazy Andy Dufresne must have been.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't climb through a shit pipe for miles.
Or was it like a half mile or like
Whatever the hell it was.
Something ridiculous.
He got down and shit and crawled through it to get the... I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he didn't want to get out of prison, but he crawled through shit for a long way.
Literal shit. Wow. But I mean, I like to think if I was in that situation, I would do the same. But only if I was innocent. If I was guilty, I'd be like, you know what? This is it. This is what I deserve. Or maybe if I don't even deserve it, this is the card I've been dealt. That man was innocent. You know, I'll eat a mile pile of shit. If it means freedom.
I was going to say, I mean, I've never been in prison, so it may be bad enough where I'm like, oh, crawling through shit's nothing.
Right.
But, I mean...
Likewise, knock on wood. That
all that prison food, creating that shit, oh, that must have just been nasty.
That was a visual I did not need.
That's like crawling through the shit pipe at Walmart.
And that's bad enough.
Yeah.
Let's go with, let's dive into this next one here. This might be a little bit of a curveball, but Fight Club.
Fight Club?
Yes.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
Why is that, Herb?
Because you don't talk about Fight Club.
That is right.
I could tell you.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Talk about Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, that would have, you know, I would have been able to tell you more on that. If a lot of people are probably going to hate me in the comments.
Boom.
Never seen Fight Club. Whoa. Wish I had. Never seen it.
You're saying you've never seen it all the way through, or
No,
you've never
turned it on. Really want to.
I'm shocked.
If I see it on on TV or something, I'll watch it. Never have seen it on TV to even watch it. And it probably is on all the time. I've just never lucked upon it being on there.
I will say though, since you've never seen it all the way through, say you catch it halfway through on TV on cable, don't watch it.
Okay.
Start it from the beginning.
Gotcha.
That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, I mean, Fight Club for one. Brad Pitt, I think, is the most beautiful human being on this world, or the most beautiful man. He's a sexy man.
Extremely possible.
And I'm straight. You know, I'm as straight as a honeymoon dick. Yeah. But the man's beautiful, and I think he's a phenomenal actor.
I'm comfortable enough in my sexuality to still be like, Brad Pitt's a good-looking dude.
Absolutely. Ryan Gosling though is a close. He's up there. Ryan Gosling, yeah. Anyways, folks. Where was I? Where were we? So Fight Club. Can't believe you haven't seen that. Here's another one that may surprise some people. I'm going with the comedy genre. Anchorman. The original.
Yeah, not the second one.
Definitely not the second one. I still love the second one. But it's way, way, way worse than the first one.
I hated the second one.
Ooh,
I watched it one time all the way through. Will not ever watch it again.
Really?
Anytime it's on, will not turn it on.
What's the reasoning?
Just didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
Love the first one. Did not find the second one funny.
So you really did love the first one?
I think there was... Oh, yeah, I love the first one. I think there was literally one scene in the second one that I even laughed at. And it was whenever they're at the... he's at the restaurant.
Yeah.
That Chip, whatever his name is, he bought or owns, and he's serving bat wings.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And he said these are bat wings, chicken of the cave.
Chicken of the cave. That is good. That is good.
That's the part I found funny. Other than that, I didn't laugh the entire time.
Wow, that does surprise. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it was nowhere near, as good as the first one, but I still consider it a funny movie. Let's bring us number 4 here. Now, this is going with a sports genre. This is my favorite sports movie of all time. And this one was probably the most difficult of the 5 for me to come up with. Friday Night Lights.
Another great movie. That's probably in my top 5 of favorite movies.
Really? Okay.
I can honestly say that one in particular is in my top 5 of favorite movies.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that was tough. With Remember the Titans was up there for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, Remember the Titans is a great one.
Absolutely.
So it's hard to compete. I mean, like when you try to compare the two, I mean, you're probably talking about, I mean,
apples and oranges
Yeah,
here.
I mean-
It's tough. What put Friday Night Lights over the top for me was the ending and the fact that it didn't follow the typical, American cinema ending. Happy ending. Everyone goes home with a smile on their face, and
oh yeah, life doesn't always have a happy ending.
more times than not. And the fact that they lost that game.
Oh yeah,
They lost the state championship game. Mm-hmm. So that's really what put it over the edge. So let's round up this top 5, this week's top 5. Top 5 greatest movies, folks. My greatest movies. The Revenant.
The Revenant.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Side note, he is my favorite actor of all time. I love the man. I love him as a human being in general, what he does outside of acting. He's a humanitarian, he gives back, he does a lot. He gives back to the world. Let's put it that way.
Have you ever seen him in the movie? I'm blanking here now. Shutter Island.
Yes.
Great movie. Great acting in that movie.
I agree. Freaky, huh?
Whenever you literally like, I've read the book too,
Okay.
but at the end of that movie, you do not know if he's really crazy or if they have just plotted this entire thing out to screw him over. Like,
I know,
you
dude.
cannot figure it out.
I know, and
I wish I knew the answer.
thing is, I haven't seen it enough. I've seen it probably 2 times all the way. I haven't seen it as many times as I would like to
Yeah.
fully critique it, because I just haven't. So I would like to watch it again now that you say that, because the answer is I don't know either. Mm-hmm. I really don't know, but phenomenal act. And I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of this one. This one wasn't anywhere close to my top 5, but a lot of people love it. Inception with Leo D.
Never seen Inception.
Maybe this is because I'm, like you mentioned, a simple-minded, non-mechatronics guy. Maybe I just didn't get it. But I thought it was unnecessarily confusing at times.
Really?
I did. And then again, I've heard people say that, oh, you just didn't get it. I'm like, well, yeah, that's probably. That's what I said. Yeah, I mean, Leo D, he's phenomenal. I like him. End of story. There's my top 5. Agree or disagree. And here is one that is an honorable mention. And after looking back and finally finalizing my top 5, if you will, I was almost, I was just torn. Pulp Fiction.
Another great movie.
It's that's what makes it a tough category to pick from. It's just, there's too many good movies. But, yeah, next week's top 5 will be, just kidding. You're not going to know until next week.
Well, guys, you just heard Dom's top 5. We want to hear yours. And we want to hear you disagree with his top 5. Don't let him off easy and just agree with everything he says.
If you do agree, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but comment under this video and let us know what your top 5 favorite movies are.
Yes, folks, and if you comment your top 5 and it's something that we didn't think of or we overlooked or that we agree with, we'll shout you out.
Yeah.
We'll shout you out on next week's episode. And don't forget, I do have a couple prizes that I'm giving away sometime in the very near future. We haven't figured out exactly how we want to introduce them to you guys. They'll be cool. They'll be weird. They'll be Bluegrass juice. And that's what we are. it'll be something funky that I think people enjoy. Worth trying to win. Even if that means liking and subscribing or, whatever. It'll be fun.
But like and subscribe the video.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And follow us on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Bluegrass
YouTube,
Juice.
Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook.
Bada
da bing, bada da boom.
Well, I think the only thing left to do is wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Herb, as always, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. And we'll see you all next time on Bluegrass Juice.
All right. Peace.